And we're back with the Chester Sky Show. Today's guest is Jack Hunter, fellow filmmaker, extraordinaire writer, director, producer, all the things.
Actor, baby.
Actor, baby. We were just talking about some of the film shoots that we've been on and what it was like working on the 48-hour film contest.
What do you think of the 48-hour?
I did it. I've done it for the last 3 years, and I've had very strange experiences. Yours was actually the best one that I've had.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've had very strange ones for the other ones.
That's hilarious.
So the first one that I did was, I thought I was going to be a composer for it. And I went on and they found out they had 3 composers for the same contest in the same group.
That is a group, man.
It's like, so who's doing the music? And they're like, not only do we have 3 composers, we also have a sound mixer as well. We got like, how many people do we need to do one job? So we're all fighting over trying to do the same song. The whole thing.
The tough thing about 48-hour competitions is that it's hard to come up with a solid story because you only have so much time.
Yeah.
And I think music adds to a story, and you're going to add color into a story. So it's really difficult to actually, I don't know, add you in there. Like you probably got the hardest.
No, I have the easiest.
Your job is the easiest, but it's hardest to like throw that stuff in there. Remember my project? I'm like, yeah, we got a story about like a dog. If you could write some dog music, and you're like, okay,
sure, let's go with it.
I'm like, yeah, he's like a sad dog. I think he runs away, and you're like, okay, I got it.
Well, yours is fun because I just like go make stuff. Like, yes, yes, I will do that.
I loved it. Whatever you came up with, man. That was great for.
Just churn stuff out there. If you guys churn out another thing or whatever I happen to be thinking of.
Well, you've kept really busy during the quarantine, haven't you?
No, I just kept making stuff, and then you like picked like 2 or 3 out of the 20 things.
No, I meant
whatever.
besides this 48-hour stuff.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But just you've been really busy, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, making a few albums each year, a few things, music albums, podcasts.
What was your most recent album?
That one's called Deeply Satisfying. So all dance music, electronic.
I liked it a lot.
Stuff. Have you, by any chance, seen any of the albums in the last little while?
I didn't even know you had more albums.
No, okay, I'll send you that.
You're gonna have to sound to me.
That's it. I guess you can check out the music on Spotify if you don't know about it already.
You know, I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups that are like writing groups, and they don't like when you try to advertise your work. So you're part of this group, and they ask a lot of questions that are really dumb, like, I don't know. Is 1,000 characters too many for a chapter? I feel like, what the hell?
How many words do I need?
Yeah. How many words are good for a chapter?
Is it bad to have long sentences or short sentences? That one, great.
I use 6 long words in 2 sentences. It's like, these are not important questions. And then someone posts their work and they're like, oh, don't post your stuff. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? How are we going to improve with each other if we're not like analyzing each other's work?
Like, do you put your software through the one that checks what grade writing it is? It's one of those things, right?
Oh, you know what I tried today was Grammarly. Have you tried that?
I heard of this. What is this again? I forget.
It's just like, I don't know. It's like a word. What do you call it? Like a word. The word checker. What do you call it?
Is it spell check?
Huh?
Spell check?
Spell checker. It's like a spell checker, but it's also like grammar checker and all this other stuff. It'll check your different things. And I don't know. People are really excited about it.
Is it good?
It's okay. It tries to correct a lot of the stuff I throw in for emphasis. Like, it doesn't like my adjectives. So
like,
really,
this is the wrong one.
Especially when the person's talking, like, oh, I was really excited. And it's like, take that really out of there. You don't need that. It's like, I don't know, man. So,
people don't actually speak in proper grammar.
No, that's the thing, yeah. So it corrects a lot of my dialogue.
No.
Other than that, I like my own way of writing. I don't want to change it to like someone else's. So I get that. I don't find it that useful, but it does give you ideas. And I think that's really cool.
So it gives suggestions.
Yeah, it gives, like, that's what I take them as. Like, it says the corrections, but I take it as a suggestion, and I usually ignore them. Okay. But sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that works a bit better. Or you can see the mistakes that...
Obvious mistakes, maybe.
You can see that you wrote something, it doesn't like it, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess I don't like that either. You don't have to take its suggestion, but you can write it a different way if you want to.
Yeah.
So that happens sometimes. So I figured that out today, and I thought that was really cool.
You've been writing quite a bit. You've been writing a whole bunch of short stories. You got what? How many? You want to do a series of what? 5?
I want to do 10.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
10 in the short.
So I think at the start of 2 years ago, the start of the year, I wrote a story. I just randomly prompted myself, and I said, whatever I write down, so whatever comes to my mind, and whatever I write down, I'm going to write a story about that. That's going to be the main character. So it could be anything.
Yeah.
And I wrote down a flower was in a field, and I'm like, oh my God, now I got to write about a flower. So I was going to scrunch up, but I thought, no, I'll write a story about this.
Because if you have to stick with whatever the idea was and expand. It doesn't matter what the bad idea was.
That's right.
Okay.
So I wrote about a flower, and it ended up being one of my favorite stories I've ever written. So that was 2 years ago. And I've not really written anything worth anything since then. But
That's one way to put it.
Well,
I haven't written anything worth of content at all.
Yeah. Well, then COVID started, and I've written, I think, 5 or 6 things that I'm willing to get published now.
Okay.
I just have to rewrite them. But that flower one was really cool.
Do you want to say it, or is that you got to keep that secret?
I think it would still be in a first. I was actually looking for it the other day. I can't find it, but I know the story in my head. So it's about a flower, and it gets kind of trampled by this horse, and it starts to rain, and the rain pushes all this dirt down, and the flower goes into this swamp, and it's about to die. But this guy comes along, and he picks it up, and he takes it home with him, and he nurses it back to health.
A flower that is in garbage gets rescued.
Exactly. And then he's picking the leaves off, and he cooks the leaves, and it's like an aphrodisiac, and he has this orgy at his house. And he's killing this plant, and as he's killing this plant, it develops these thorns. And the thorns prick the guy, and it kills him.
Ooh. And it kills the guy.
Yeah. And then these guys come and clean up the house, and they throw the plant in the trash.
They check it out.
Yeah. And then the plant goes to the garbage yard, and when it comes out, the flower is actually broken off the top, and it's just a stem. And then a month later, 2 little stems grow up from the roots. And that's the end of the story.
Ooh, it's one of these symbolic...
It wasn't. It was just a story about a flower. But in the end, I'm like, I have to... See, that's like still a first draft. And then you're right. It means something.
I think you want it to mean something. I don't think you want it to be literal. That's no good.
Well, the thing for me was that the flower got destroyed, and it needed something to defend itself. So as it's getting destroyed, it develops these thorns that are poisonous. And so it does, because a flower isn't anything. It doesn't have any feelings, but in this case, you really feel for this flower as it's dying, and it's defending itself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make a character of the flower. I didn't want it to mean anything. I just wanted to put a character into this flower. And then in the end, when it grew... Its babies, I guess, grew out of them. It doesn't mean anything, but it really feels like it does, and so I kind of like the idea.
So when you describe the flower, is it all like? Is there any internal feeling, first person, or is it all like the flower then grew, the flower then fell, blah blah blah?
I don't know. I gotta rewrite it now, so it's interesting to think about it that way. I wouldn't do it first person. Like I was growing in a field.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that is a way to do it.
My leaves were brushed by the wind.
I felt the wind whip past my leaf petals. I don't know.
I think I would do it third person for sure because the flower, and it's just a flower. It's nothing. It's not anything real. But in the end, you're gonna feel for it. It's like the IKEA commercial with that with the lamp. You ever hear that one?
The Toy Story, the lamp that jumps on the ball.
No. So IKEA had this commercial about this old lamp, and the lady comes in and she takes it and she puts it on the curb, and it's like there and it's getting rained on, and then in the end it says, "Why do you care about this lamp?" or something. Because IKEA wants you to get new lamps, and so
that's a quality ad.
But everything in the ad was filmed so that you really feel for this lamp.
Music, intensity.
Yeah, and it's just lighting. It's nothing. So it was really cool. You should check it out. So I had that in mind when I was writing this flower one too. But my newer stories are a lot better. So one's about a guy I was telling you who wants to be, I guess he wants to be a writer, a filmmaker, and he's never produced anything of quality, but finally he has something, and he went out and he showed everyone, and he got himself in a situation where now he has to impress some really high,
bigwig,
important people, some bigwigs. And he's got them coming over that night, and of course in the morning he doesn't feel the same, and he's got to get himself back to that point. So that was the first story. It's called Colbert's Whiskey.
Colbert's Whiskey.
And it was the first story I wrote, and I thought, okay, I understand how to write now, which is maybe kind of cocky to say. But
nothing wrong with that.
I've been studying. I was looking for that flower story, and I looked through my computer, and I have written, I think, 30 or 40 short stories at least, and I saw them all on my computer, and I was like, how have I written so many stories and nothing? I wanted to keep none of these stupid things, you know? I wanted to calculate how many words I'd written in those 40 stories.
It's like 2, 3, 4 novels.
Well, if there's 1,000 words per story, at least, and then you got 40.
How many words are in a novel? I have no idea.
Well, usually my short story is about 3,000 words. But if you think of, if I had 40 short stories at 3,000 words, that's 120,000 words, right?
Is that enough for a book? Sounds like it.
Yeah, probably. But they say you're supposed to write 1 million words before you're good at writing.
Before what?
Before you can start writing or whatever. You have to experiment with 1 million words. That's what they say, man.
You gotta put 10,000 hours before you're an expert. Come on.
You know, I heard about that.
Rubbish.
You got to spend 10,000 hours before you're an expert or something. But that's really good. That's like a professional level.
Yeah, but you never get to that until you've churned out a bunch of stuff along the way.
I know, that's true.
It doesn't work.
That's been a huge thing for me is I don't put out any of my work. I don't let anyone see my work.
Yeah.
So I got on Instagram recently and I've been trying to promote myself, but not really. I just want to put my work out there and let people see it a bit more.
I think you have to.
Well, that's the thing. And
You have to put stuff out.
well, I've been writing for so long and letting no one read my stuff. And now I'm getting everyone to read my stuff and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. So
Even if you don't get the feedback that you expect, at least you can see what it's like when you do get feedback later, because you're going to have to deal with that as well.
I know. Well,
That's hard. It's really hard to deal with feedback.
I wrote a story about a girl and she changes her name to Candy or Cindy. I don't know.
Sounds like a different kind of girl.
Well, she goes to the plastic surgeon, and she wants everything changed about her. She says, I don't want to look weird. I want to look different. I don't want to look the same. Like, she's a really pretty girl, but she doesn't want to look pretty. She wants to look kind of different. And so she goes through all this stuff, and then there's this guy who has Asperger's, and he's in charge of this hotel. And so I got all these great little characters and stuff, and I got a great twist for him. It's really good. But I have to write the story still, and there's no story to it. There's no plot. It's just characters and really good descriptions for them.
Might be all you need, though.
Maybe. I don't know. My fiance loves the story, but I gave it to my editor, and he said he just couldn't. He wanted the story to go somewhere, and it never did. Like, he was expecting it to. And this was before I kind of understood story. But now I get it a bit more, so I'll revisit that one day, and I'll turn that out. Because those are some cool characters. I really want to explore them.
You gotta give me your contact, your editor. I'm looking for an editor.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, he's not really. He used to be an editor. He works with me at Medieval Times. And so he looks at my stuff. He used to charge a lot for it too, but he does it for me for free, which is kind of cool. My latest story is about, what did I write about? Oh, it's about this guy who just loves stealing stuff.
I like this already. That's a good premise.
and then his fiance and him have like a really sweet relationship, and I just love reading about them. And I love the way the relationship goes, and it's really cute.
I like that idea. Just guys steal stuff.
And then there's a homeless guy in the park that he hates.
Got rich characters. I believe him already. I haven't even had the story yet.
Yeah. Well, it's
That sounds believable.
definitely based on me and my struggle to kind of accept someone who's homeless living in the park right beside my house. Maybe it's not very nice, but that's...
No, it is tricky though. No, I get that. It's something about when they're someone who's definitely suffering, but you don't really want to get involved as well.
Well, the guy's not all, like, he's not all there or whatever. Like, there's something wrong with him, and, you know, I try to be empathetic, but at the same time, he's cluttering up my park, and he stares at my fiance every time we walk by, and I don't know. It's just
it's a tough situation.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to be nice to the guy, but
It's like
he's not there anymore because it got too cold. He lives in a tent in my little parkette.
Ooh, oh dear.
It's a fun story, though. It's got a great twist, too. And all my stories have twists now. And I'm like, I don't want to M. Night Shyamalan myself into a corner and then Shyamalan myself into a corner.
Did you ever see, there's a Japanese director called Satoshi Khan. Did you know this guy?
No.
Okay, well, check him out. If you like Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away, this is his, like, arguably a guy who's equally as good.
Okay.
Some kind of similar cartoonish things. There's one of his films where it's a bunch of homeless people, and it's just following them. Just what do they get up to?
Okay.
What do they do?
Wait, is it an animated movie? Or is
It's an anime movie. It's all cartoon. It's beautifully done. And the premise is they encounter this baby who's being chucked out, or they don't really know. They just find this baby, and like, what do homeless people do with the baby?
Yeah.
So they don't want to turn in their homeless. They're a little bit cuckoo as well. So they just go on adventures with this kid. And yeah, I mean, they just kind of navigate the world as slightly out there homeless people.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, I'm not sure if I like the, I mean, they're trying to push a message, but you take that out. I think that the idea of exploring what slightly crazy people do is always a good premise for a book.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I just saw the movie 12 Monkeys. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Of course.
Literally, I just finished that before you walked in.
Anything with Brad Pitt I've seen. So there. How'd you like it?
Well, I'm a big Terry Gilliam fan.
Who the hell's Terry Gilliam?
Director, 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, what else did he do?
And he also directed Monty Python.
Did
everything.
He? Okay.
Yeah. So if you know Monty Python, you kind of know what you're getting into. If you don't know Monty Python, you don't really know what's happening. Why is things so bizarre?
Right.
12 Monkeys is cool just because Brad Pitt's insane, and then Bruce Willis doesn't know if he's insane.
Yeah, that was
he might be. He might not.
I revisited that maybe 6 months ago. I think I watched it, or maybe I wanted to watch it. I don't really remember the movie too much.
It's just about. I mean, the premise is he's going back in time. He's a time traveler. But when he's back in time, people think he's crazy. He's like, "What are you talking about? You're from the future? Crazy."
So they lock him up with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, they lock him up. They're the same asylum with Brad Pitt, who's also insane.
Brad Pitt ends up being the leader of something, though, doesn't he?
He's the leader, but he's insane.
Yeah, so that maybe that was a part I didn't get, was that he was so insane I couldn't understand how he could lead these people.
Yeah, that didn't really buy it. But when you actually, I mean, that's part of the twist, is you think he's leading. Yeah, I'm going to spoil this for the listeners. So you think he's leading to do all these great things, and then at the end of the movie, you find out the thing that he did was actually really not important at all.
Yeah,
you just assumed he's going to change the world and cause all this chaos, but he was just insane. People just assumed he was going to do these things. He just took credit for stuff he didn't do. So he took credit for all the big, crazy events that happened.
I think there's something about clarity in that movie. The ending, it's just like I don't know, maybe stuff. It was like a red herring at some point.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it wasn't really clear what Bruce Willis had done in the end of the movie. I don't remember the movie too much, but I remember being kind of lost, and not in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you mean. Time travel movies are like that, though.
Well, I watched I did a 48-hour.
Time travel?
No, when the COVID started, we had to stay home, and there was like a stay-at-home 48-hour film festival.
Okay.
And I had this idea for a movie, and the idea was that this guy can read minds.
Ooh, I like this already.
And his fiance has dementia, so she's losing her brain or whatever. What is it called?
Ooh.
Her brain's starting to deteriorate, and he can read her mind.
Sick.
Because her mind is deteriorating, he's going crazy reading her mind.
Ooh.
Sounds really cool, but I watched it again, and I'm like,
wait, this is the movie already made.
Yeah, and I was watching, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? What is this movie? And it's so confusing. It's a really interesting movie.
Sounds good.
And at one point he calls his ex-girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, so he's going insane. He can't talk to his fiance because she's going crazy, and he's going crazy because of her. And so he tries to level himself up by talking to an ex-girlfriend and by manipulating her to prove that he still has this cognitive ability that he has. Yeah, weird as shit, right? And so he calls her, and I got this really good actress to play this character, and she was so flirty in the end, with like being mind controlled by this guy. And I thought that was a great performance. But you watch it, and you have no idea that I was trying to get at this stuff. And so clarity is so important in movies.
Hard to
when you're making movies, and you have to simplify the hell out of it if you want to make it clear enough to watch. Yeah. I could have explained maybe anyway. So that was what I made.
It sounds good.
The start of the
selling it here.
The start of the movie is like this voiceover and these really cool camera angles, and then the end, he gets a knock on the door, and he goes, "Oh, there's 2 cops outside the door, and they're going to ask about this murder that happened because he killed his wife because he felt bad that she was going insane." That's what he starts off. That's the start of the movie, is that he goes, I knew her, you know, you wouldn't understand because you couldn't read her, but I knew her and I could read her. Maybe I should have just spelled it out. Like, I can read her mind. And I know she's going insane, so I killed her because I knew that's what she wanted.
But that's the narration right there. Okay.
And then in the end, the cops are at the door, and he goes, "I'll get rid of them. It's not a big issue. And they're just here to investigate some sounds that happened." And then it cuts to black. It sounds so cool when I describe it.
I mean, that sounds good.
The movie is so confusing, though. Hey, you look at it and you're like, this is so weird.
Well, how do you film a guy reading a person's mind?
Well, for one, he's in the opposite room, and he's like, look on your right, and then he's like telling the girl where to look, and she finds a ring, and then she comes and she says, "I can't get married to you because I don't know how long this is going to be." And goes, "I want to marry you." It's hard, man. I don't know. I could have used a team, but I did it all myself.
So you did that you conveyed the psychic ability just with dialogue.
I did, and I didn't do it very well, so there was that.
Maybe you need to have another stab at it.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's gone now, but yeah, it sounds like a cool story, doesn't it?
Maybe it doesn't have to be a film. Maybe it's just good as a written piece of work.
I could throw it in a short story. Maybe that'll be my next one. That sounds really cool, actually.
Especially when it comes to psychic things, because it's all internal. It's all in your head. How do you convey that unless you're looking at the guy's face? And he's like, "I'm thinking." Like,
so the last two stories I did, I think I could turn them into movies. But yeah, a lot of short stories you can't, or just like,
like that flower one. That'd be hard to turn into a film.
Just watching a flower the whole time,
unless it's like stop animation. But I don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool. An animated movie you could do.
Yeah, but I don't think you could do it with live action. What?
You could, but it would have to be like really short, I think.
I don't know how you do that.
Kind of like that. You got to watch the lamp one, commercial, man.
We can look at that later.
Because that one, you definitely feel for this stupid lamp, and it's just a lamp, and that's you could definitely do it with the flower too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was thinking about filming it. I always think of my short stories as films anyway. So when I write them, especially, I'd really try to write out a scene. I don't want to write like a writer. I want to write like I write, which is like scene driven.
I think it's a good way to approach writing too.
I guess so. Yeah. I'm still struggling. You're not struggling, but I'm still wondering about point of view. Mm-hmm. So there's third person and first person point of view, and there's limited, and then there's like omniscient point of views. So like the narrator might know everything, or the narrator might only know one thing. I really like what's called...
Omniscient's hard though, because it's hard to have emotion when you're all seeing, all knowing, all powerful, right?
Well, yeah, I like to write in limited most often because I like just being from one person's point of view, and I like just saying it from them, and then you can add in like dramatic irony and all this other stuff. Should I wear this?
If you want it, I find that will be more comfortable, perhaps.
Oh shit, that's nice. Anyways, tell me some more about you.
I'm writing a story of my own, actually. Yesterday I can't, so I figured out that you can't describe time travel in a conversation easily. It's really hard to describe a time travel plot.
Like the rules of the time travel? Or?
No, just to explain a complicated time travel plot in words. It's really hard. You can read it and you can kind of get it. You can see diagrams and you can kind of get it.
Yeah.
But to hear about, he went back and then he went forward and then he went back, it's so complicated. But I wrote out this time travel script, and I've been trying to write this for a few years. But I think I finally have the plot laid out.
Yeah.
And I like how everything actually seems like it follows its own rules. Like, I find that's hard to do in time travel. It's easy to break it, but it's hard to come back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's tricky to stay consistent throughout.
Mainly because it's probably impossible in real life.
That as well.
So
you got a whole bunch of problems going up.
Believable. Same with like any magic in a movie is very difficult to do too.
How do you do magic movies? Like The Prestige?
No, like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings or anything with magic in the world.
Because they can just do everything.
Take like Elder Scrolls, for example. Like the rules they make in their game are often broken for random reasons, or like it's not in depth enough to really make you feel like it's a real thing. Because the rules very, very difficult to do.
The rules aren't solid. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, we just need another card, but then this card just like breaks all the rules.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Exactly. Same with time travel. Like, I don't know. you take like Back to the Future. There's a YouTube video on like different types of time travel that they use. And there's like different sets of rules that a bunch of different ones use. Like sometimes there's the alternate future one. Sometimes, I don't know, it changes the future. I don't know. There's a bunch
I mean, there's like time. There's like you can't change it at all. No matter what you do, it just causes the same thing.
Oh yeah, there's that one too. So what's your rule?
So mine is the guy thinks he can change it.
Okay,
that's what his thing is. So I can describe like half of it, and then I have to stop because you're not gonna know what's going on anymore. So I can tell you like the main theme though. The main theme is a few things.
Have you seen The Time Machine?
Yep, with Richard. Not Richard. Yeah, I've seen Time Machine.
Guy Ritchie, I think.
Guy Ritchie. There you go.
Is that his name?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
But the rules in that one are that he can change anything about the future except for the fact that his wife died. Because that's the reason he made the time machine. So if he saves his wife, he never would have made the time machine. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, continue with your story.
I actually didn't make that connection. I think it's right. That's cool. So the premise of mine is I walk into a room. I'm just going to use myself as the character just for illustration purpose. I walk into a room.
Alrighty.
And in that room, I see my dead self.
Okay.
I see my dead body. So as soon as I walk into a room, I should know there's time travel or cloning or something. Something's up. Why am I dead over there?
Yeah.
So that kind of sparks the initial thing. On the body, I find a cell phone. On the cell phone, there's clues where that body's been. So there's pictures, there's maybe text messages, there's maybe information that I've made phone calls to certain people. So this is like my sort of guide to what could happen. So that's one element in the story.
Okay.
Another element is there's another. So I'm not going to show how all these things connect because it's complicated. I'm just going to show the key interesting parts of this story. Another one is the guy who wants to go back into the past and he wants to make himself benefit in the future.
Right.
That's why he invented the time machine, so he can go back and buy a lottery ticket.
Like Hot Tub Time Machine. Like Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I love that movie.
Yeah, so he thinks he can change the past. Okay. He wants to go back and he wants to like give himself all the solutions. He wants to give himself all the answers.
Right.
That's one part. And then there's a third part where I have a person I like in the present. I fall in love with this girl. And I don't realize that she's not from my present time. She's like from another time. So I fall in love with this girl. We have this relationship, but I don't realize until it's later revealed that she was never in my present time. She came from another time and had this relationship with a girl from some of the period.
So are you in your other self's time or are you in your own time?
Yeah, so like there's a bunch of jumping all over the place, and then that's too confusing to explain unless you actually were to read it out.
Sit down and read
but
it.
Like, these are the key ideas which I think are cool.
How are you going to write it? Is it a screenplay?
Yeah, like you can read it later on. I've written out the whole synopsis of the story.
Shit, cool.
But I think these are the cool elements of it. And then, let me see, I think there was one other one that was interesting.
See, I think one of the most important parts then would be how do you clarify it for the audience? Because that's a difficult thing to do. For me, that's always the thing about my films. One time I made a short film about this guy and his wife died, but I didn't want to say that his wife died because why would you mention that your wife died? And so you never know that his wife died. And in the end, he gets with another girl and she kind of gets him over his lost wife.
Oh, it's just implied that his wife died.
Yeah. And you don't know. And then in the end, you're like, oh, I didn't see that at all. And then when
depressed.
If I tell the person before they watch it, the movie's better. So I'm like, I should have mentioned that somewhere. Show them a picture of her or something. Who knows? But anyways, yeah.
No, I don't know. I like time travel. I'm totally into that. I love those movies. Out of all movie genres, is time
Have you
travel.
seen the one where there's a camera in the other room and it takes a picture of the room?
Yes, that was a great one.
That was a good one.
That was a great one.
That was like a B movie, but it was really cool.
But the concept is so good that it becomes an A movie.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah, what was that movie called? Yeah, and they take photos of the next day every time.
Pictures of things that they want to know. But they couldn't change it. It was always the same. And we better
can cause
be there.
It, they can't change it.
Yeah, we better be there to fucking make sure the It's the same as it was yesterday, but it doesn't matter. I would have tried to change it. I would have said, fuck it, well, let's not go.
They do try to change it at several points, and it just causes it in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's important in a time travel story, though, because if you just change it, then the rules don't matter anymore. That's the problem. You've broken all.
Well, it depends on your story. I mean, Back to the Future, he changes the future, right?
Did you see Primer?
Primer, no.
No, okay. I'm trying to think of movies where they actually intentionally change it, and they do it, and like that's what happens. Yeah, I guess Back to the Future they do that.
Well, I think Time Machine was the first one, wasn't it?
Time Machine seems to work.
Who wrote that? Do you know?
I don't know.
No, someone famous.
It's an old story though. I think.
Yeah, I think it was
new movie, old story.
Yeah, probably the first time travel movie or story.
Sounds like the world's kind of writer.
Yeah,
just wrote it back in when he had this brilliant insight in some other century.
I wonder if it was the same writer.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it should be George Orwell or whatever.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know who that is, but that name sounds familiar.
George Orwell.
Yeah, is it George Orwell's Time Machine? That sounds right. Finds out it's the wrong guy. He wrote Moby Dick or something.
George Orwell wrote Animal Farm.
Animal Farm? That sounds familiar too.
Oh, H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells, okay.
I wrote The Time Machine, but I think H.G. Wells was also
H.G. Wells.
War of the Worlds, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. It'd be funny if it's all written by one guy. We just assume it's different people, and well, it's just one dude did all these things. Now, I've always wanted to make a time travel story, time travel movie of some form. I think the movie's a little ways off. You got to write the book first, but I had this idea like years ago where, like way back, I like the idea I walk into a room, I see myself dead body, and I try to solve my own murder. I always like that concept.
So is it a mystery then? Is it a?
It's a mystery for me.
Crime mystery.
But here's the twist though, is that I'm actually not the most important character. I think I am because it's my perspective.
Yeah.
But I didn't make the time travel machine.
No.
So the story is really about the guy who made the time travel machine. But we're looking at it from my perspective, as I happen to be using it here and there.
But I think that your character is going to be the one with the biggest change, isn't he?
Yeah, but only from my perspective.
So
like that's the twist in the movie, is you think it's really everything about what I'm controlling, blah, blah, blah. But I'm actually a side plot. That's the irony of it.
I think about genre a lot. I think about, like Tarantino makes genre films. And I always thought, like, what does that mean? What the hell are you talking about? But he makes like a Western, or he makes whatever. And then there's so many different types of genre, and there's so many different ways of writing, but there are expectations that we have when we watch a certain type of movie. Do you know what genre Harry Potter is?
Fantasy, I guess.
You can say fantasy or magic or something like that. But you know what I actually think it is? I think it's a mystery, or it's a crime mystery. Because there's always something that happens, and they have to discover it. These guys are the
keeps your interest, yeah.
Investigators, and they have to figure out what happened. Right?
That's true.
And that's every movie is like that, and that to me is what keeps us interested. The world is magic and all that, but the plot is a mystery.
That's true.
It's a crime thriller. Really.
That's why it's interesting. You want to know what happens at the end of the chapter.
Yeah. So you mix those two, and you get a compelling story. And so when I'm writing, you gotta keep the tension somehow. And I think that the plot structure has a certain type of genre, and that's what I want to study, and that's what I want to get better at. And so your story, I think, is also, from what I've heard so far, it could be like that. Like you got to figure out what happened and discover
Yeah. No, it is.
And delve more into like, oh my God, I went back in time, or I'm in the future. Who knows?
Yeah. The thing that I've been struggling about is, because I'm thinking about this from, like, how would this be filmed? I don't know why. That's like my lens of how I view writing. So I'm constantly thinking, wait a second, this scene doesn't have enough urgency. Even though I haven't actually written the story, but just even the plot itself, I'm like, there needs to be urgency at some point in this scene, or else it's not going to be a great thing to film later.
What do you need?
Like, there needs to be something where you're running out of time, in a certain extent.
You could have that.
It has to be a deadline, or else there's no way to force the plot to move. Otherwise, they just relax and there's no pressure.
I was thinking about this the other day. I saw two things. Two things I wanted to add more in my writing were like tension and something else. I can't remember.
Something else.
I'm just getting a little
Tension
tired.
and-
That bike ride here was insane. That was an hour long. I got lost. That was so funny, man.
It's dark too nowadays.
By the time I noticed I was lost, I was like at least 20 minutes past where I was supposed to turn. Because when I was going down the road, there was no sign. It was all construction, so there's no sign.
Yeah.
I'm like, could that be Warden? I don't even know. Anyway, so it was really, oh man. And then I got to my buddy's house, I'm like, maybe I'll go over there and I'm done. I'm like, wait, he doesn't live near you.
Yeah, but the thing with tension, though, how do you approach that, though, if you're trying to add tension? Because for me, I am thinking that there has to be time deadline.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
You don't think like that at all?
Usually third act of a story, you're going to have a time crunch. Ticking clock would happen, in the third act. But other than that, you don't really need it to keep tension.
Yeah.
Give me any story. I'm sure there isn't really a time deadline.
Well, the problem with time travel is you actually have infinite time.
You know what's always funny? Every time travel story, when they go back into time, they're always like, they go to the wrong time. They instead of giving themselves extra time,
Exactly.
they go directly to the point where they have a time crunch.
So if you do that without that, though, then they just, I'll just chill for a month. That's no good.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
There's another one that was pretty good with Aubrey Plaza. What's that one called?
Audrey Plaza?
Yeah.
Audrey Plaza Time Machine?
It's got the guy from
I saw a lot of her movies. I don't know time changing, though.
Thank You for Listening or something. Or
Thank you for this.
you haven't seen that one? That's pretty good.
Thank you. It sounds familiar.
Well, the guy's crazy. He goes, who wants to come back in time with me again?
Yeah, I got to see this movie later. This sounds good. Whatever this is. Audrey Plaza Time Machine? I want to see that.
Yeah, well, she's a reporter, and she's supposed to investigate this guy because he's kind of crazy. And he's like, I got a time machine. We'll go back in time. And you don't see actually if he has a time machine or not until the end of the movie. So it's not really a time travel movie.
So you don't find out about Time Machine at all, really?
No, until the end of the movie.
So the whole movie, you see things happening you just never explained.
No, nothing ever happens you can't explain. He just says that he went back in time and then he's come back and then he's going to go again.
It's not even part of the story, really. It's just a side plot.
No, yeah, exactly. And so he's basically crazy, and then Aubrey Plaza has to... I don't remember his name. You'd know him, though, if you saw him. He's from The League. He's the main guy in The League.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big writer. I can't remember his name.
The Justice League?
No, The League, the TV show.
I haven't seen that,
About
actually.
fantasy football.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. Check it out later.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, talking so much. What on? Play.
Yeah. We're back. We took a short break, and now we're ranting about movies again.
Sure, well-needed break with some dinner involved.
So you saying Tenet? What were you saying about Tenet? Christopher Nolan's gem?
Well, I haven't seen Tenet yet. I'd like to.
seen Tenet.
But it's got to be about something more than what just you see on the screen. And it's got to be about some bigger picture thing. Because that's what Christopher Nolan does. And he's like Lynch in that way, where his movie's about something and you don't know. And the same with Tarantino. He does the same thing. His movies are always about something.
Some more than what you
Something more,
see.
yeah.
Well, there's a literal version, which sucks. And then there's the figurative version, which is actually really good.
Well, you could say there's the little version that is face value. And hopefully it doesn't suck. Because that's what we want to see when we go to the theater. We want to see the story. But the deeper meaning of the story is always what's more complex and what's more entertaining.
So that's where the movie Stalker comes in.
Okay.
So there's this movie called Stalker, 1979 by Tchaikovsky. And if you watch it, it's just painful and boring.
Yeah.
And then you find out what it's about, and it's the most amazing movie.
So it's exactly like Lynch.
Yes, it's exactly that. I don't know if I even recommend watching it, but I do recommend understanding it.
But that's the thing. If the face value, if the thing that you're watching is too boring to get through, then
It's
what's
so
the point of the
painful
bigger
to watch
message?
it. It's so brutal. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes
Holy shit.
with nothing.
I won't even watch...
And it's beautiful when you know what it's about.
Yeah? Well, maybe I should watch it then. Well, here's the thing.
It's so awful to watch, though. That's the problem.
Knowing what it's about before you watch it, maybe that's a good idea. Because I could tell you what any David Lynch film is about, and you watch it, and you're like, oh yeah, I see that. I see what's going on.
Yeah, but maybe it's better not to know going in.
Do you know what Eraserhead is about?
I do now.
Yeah?
I didn't enjoy it, though.
It's a weird movie.
Even still.
It's
even
black
though
and
I knew.
white, too. Very odd movie.
Eraserhead is painful.
And there's a gruesome aspect about it.
It's very gruesome.
Yeah.
It's very visually disgusting.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to like feel odd just
the alien in the movie Aliens, they look very similar to that thing.
Yeah. I thought so.
I wonder if they like somehow connected because it looks like the same alien.
I wonder who made the film first.
It's got to be David Lynch made his first, surely, right?
Do you know how long it took him to make that movie?
No, how long?
A long time. I don't remember.
I know he made it as a student.
But that guy kept that haircut for like 4 years or something like that. Walking around that stupid haircut.
Why are you wearing that haircut? I'm making a David Lynch film. Who's that? It's some unknown director. He's making his debut film. What's it about? I don't know what's happening in it.
I'm telling you, I can feel it.
What's the movie about? I don't know, but I think it'll be big. What happens in it? I still don't know. What are the visuals? I don't know.
That's the thing, though. You watch. That's for me with David Lynch. I watched the movie, and I think I honestly think like he's just putting shit in here. Like he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And like if you've seen his artwork too, you're like,
no, I haven't seen his artwork.
It's again, it's kind of grotesque.
Did you hear an interview with him about how he makes films?
I saw his Masterclass.
Oh, how was that?
It was good.
Ooh.
Again, it's just very odd, and he doesn't seem like he knows what he's talking about. And then you watch his movie, and then you figure out what it was about, and you're like, he knew exactly what he was talking about the whole time. And you're like, this guy's a genius.
What did you get out of his Masterclass? I haven't seen that.
Oh man, I can't even remember.
Uh-oh.
I can't remember. That's the thing with those Masterclasses is that it's just a clip of someone's experience. And
no, I took notes. I wanted to get the highlights so I had to watch it again.
With who?
With Malcolm Gladwell. With
I saw the start of his.
With Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman's was good.
Yeah, I just took notes of that. Especially with that kind of thing, because that's something I actually want to use or refer to. Right?
I think his Natalie Portman's was really good. I don't remember what she was talking about. Dustin Hoffman's was good. Don't remember what he was talking about.
Is his still on? I thought they took this down.
Well, they took his down. I think you can get it for free now. Same with the other guy,
Kevin Spacey. What happened to Hoffman? I understand what happened to Spacey. That was big.
I don't know. I never heard about it. I knew he did something. I can't remember what he did.
Yeah.
But his was about like method acting, and then Spacey's was about doing monologues.
Spacey's, I didn't really get much out of that one.
I love Spacey's acting though, and I think the thing I got out of his was that he was imitating people a lot as a child, and that helped him act. And I think it was getting into their persona, not so much like imitating their voice, but being that person, having the body language and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I stole something off him. He was in a movie, Horrible Bosses.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
And when he just whispers to the guy, he's like, "You're my bitch." And when he did that, it's so terrifying. It's such a good acting choice. And like, if you saw that in a script, you wouldn't do it like that. Maybe you would now. But I did that to a friend of mine at work. I said something like that, and he was terrified.
It's very scary when you whisper. That's right. It's way scarier than just yelling it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's like, just to let you know, you're screwed the rest of your life.
Something terrifying about understating it. Or it's like the phrase, "I will end you." I mean, you don't know what it is. I will end you.
Oh. Excuse me.
Something about the fears about not knowing how they're going to do it. They say, "I'm going to kill you in these exact ways. This step one, I'm going to hurt you. This step two, step three is not as scary as I'm going to do something very bad to you. And you're not going to see it coming." Somehow that's scarier.
Instead of the Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm going to kill you last.
I will kill you. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a very scary guy, is he? Even as a bad guy in movies.
Well, what's he been a bad guy in?
He was a bad guy in like Batman films. He was the Dr. Freeze or whatever.
Yeah, that was a horrible.
Not a very scary villain. I will kill you. Yeah.
Freeze, chill.
Please, I will take over the world. Yeah.
I love Schwarzenegger. I think his movies are fantastic. True Lies. Have you seen
that was solid. That's James Cameron, right?
But that's also with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I think she's one of the best actors out there.
That was a solid movie. That's right. I forgot about that one. I got to see that again.
Harry!
That was great. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Alien 2. Woo!
Yeah, Alien and Alien 2 were good.
Yeah, Alien.
Usually sequels are garbage, but that one was good.
Isn't there meant to be more Avatar movies coming out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard about that yesterday, actually.
It was meant to come out this year, I thought, but
you
it's
think
not
it'll be
happening,
good?
obviously.
Oh, what's her name? Who's in that movie?
Sigourney Weaver?
No. Oh, it's Kate Blanchett. No.
I don't know.
Kate
who you're talking
Winslet. Kate Winslet is in the movie. And she got the record for longest held breath underwater for a movie or something.
What?
The actor who held her breath the longest
For
underwater
Titanic or what?
for a movie. No, for Avatar.
She's an Avatar. Kate Winslet.
Avatar 2, yeah. Guess how long she held her breath for?
How long?
You want to guess?
Well, I know what the human record is, and it's between that and that. Let's go with 5 minutes.
I think it was 7.5 minutes or something.
Whoa.
Something crazy. And she beat Tom Cruise's record. I think he did it for 6 minutes.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
Damn.
I'd be terrified to hold my breath that long.
Well, I get scared with just being under for like a minute or two.
I've gone over a minute, but 7, that's crazy.
How's that? Did she train or something?
Yeah, of course. There's tactics to do it. I saw a YouTube video about it, actually. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, isn't it meant to be a whole bunch of Avatar? Like, it's meant to be more than just one coming out.
Avatars?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I just heard about it yesterday.
Oh.
I just heard Mary was telling me about a bunch of stuff that was going on.
This guy's gonna be. There's so many movies that's supposed to come out and they didn't come out. Avatar is one of those. The next Top Gun 2.
Oh yeah,
supposed to be coming
didn't that already come
out.
That hasn't come out yet.
Well, it was supposed to come out a long time ago. They just pushed it back. Like Tenet wasn't meant to come out now. It was meant to come out a while ago.
Titanic or Avatar?
Tenet.
Titanic.
Like Tenet, the Christopher Nolan.
Oh, Tenet. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was supposed to come out a long time ago, but they kept pushing it back.
That's gonna be in theaters for a while, though, isn't it? They said they were gonna keep it in theaters for a while.
Well, only if it's keep making money. Hard to say.
I hope so. I want to go see it. I haven't seen it yet.
You can probably watch it online now, actually.
I don't want to watch it online. I want to see it in theaters. Anything by big directors, I want to go see in theaters. I want to see their
movie,
I want to experience it, especially if they know what they're doing. Like some new director who sucks, I don't care about to go to see his video.
Yeah, if it's big visuals.
Yeah, exactly. Same with like anything Tarantino. I want to see in the theaters because that's what he makes it for, the theater.
Yeah.
You watch it on your TV. The big thing is that like a TV is so small compared to a screen. A screen, the characters on the screen are 10 times your size. And then on your TV, the characters are 1/10 of your size.
Yeah, my TV's all right, but I got like I have like the speaker so I can get the surround sound, which helps.
It's fine, and like, I guess that's where we're going to these days is like bigger TVs
Yeah.
and nicer picture quality. But
It's just the size of TV, really. It's the only difference. So much bigger in a theater.
But at theater as well, you're going to see them, and so it's kind of a respect thing.
It's
Here,
like
they're coming into
yeah.
your house, so you don't give a shit what's going on. But there, you're in their domain.
You're
and
totally focused. There's nothing else to look at.
Yeah, and you don't go on your phone or anything. You're sitting there and you're watching the film. And I hope we don't lose that experience.
It's true. And then you get the other intangibles like the smell and the way that everything echoes in the room. You get all of that as well.
And I think watching with a bunch of different people too.
Yeah, that seems to help.
Just an experience.
You really feel out of your comfort. Well, not even comfort, but like you feel like you've gone to a different place when you're in a theater.
We saw Aquaman in theaters.
Oh, yeah?
And when we laughed, it's like everyone was laughing together.
What'd you think of that movie? I just saw that a few days ago.
I hated every part of that movie. I like Jason Momoa. I don't even know his name.
Momo.
Momoa. He's cool. Like he's
cool.
interesting and he's entertaining. But the movie was so lame, and we were getting like seasick because of the underwater stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of
I'm
that.
pretty sure the same explosion happens 5 times to cut a scene off to push the story forward. Absolutely ridiculous. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I haven't enjoyed a DC movie yet.
Not even Joker, the new one?
I don't think I enjoyed that when I watched it.
Really?
It was really
Oh,
depressing. Right. It was okay though. There was a lot of stuff I liked about the movie, but as a whole, I thought it was okay. But I wasn't too enthused about it. But it was okay, and I do like the Christopher Nolan Batman series.
Yeah. Anything with Christopher Nolan, right?
Although I didn't like the third Batman, so like I don't know.
Yeah. Something about the Bane one really didn't ring with people.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I don't know.
It's gonna be hard to keep it up though. How do you consistently work on a franchise and keep innovating somehow.
But I think Marvel did a good job, and then DC just, I don't know, it sucks. Like Batman versus Superman, I wouldn't even watch that, but it's absolute garbage.
Well,
Suicide Squad, I mean, come on.
But Suicide Squad, wasn't that just because they wanted to have a Harley Quinn movie? Wasn't that the general premise for Suicide Squad in the first place?
I don't think so. Maybe. I know they did do a...
Because, I mean, I think people really wanted to see Harley Quinn. I wanted to see Harley Quinn. I wanted to see a movie about her.
She's a cool character. I would have focused more of that movie on her.
Yeah.
And then who's Will Smith's character?
Yeah, what the hell? Deadshot?
I've never even heard of that guy before.
He becomes the main guy?
Like, why make a movie about a guy we've never heard of?
I wanted to see the love story between Joker and Harley.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted.
Me too. And I don't think it's a love story.
We still haven't seen that.
But it's like, it's so messed up, and that's what you want to watch.
It's so not the focus of the movie.
And then apparently they cut out a lot of what Jared Leto did.
Yeah, why would they do
and
that?
I can see that as an actor.
I wanted to see Jared. I wanted to see Harley. I want to see Joker and Harley. I want to see what they do together. And then they didn't have that. It's not the movie at all. Which is, maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's my fault. I was going in to see a different movie than what they were going to give me.
No, that movie's just absolutely horrible. I saw bits and pieces. I was looking for myself in the movie because I did background work on that movie. And I went to the scene and I just thought, this is awful. I wouldn't even want to be associated with this movie. Yeah.
I remember when I saw that movie, I was with my dad. We watched Suicide Squad. And we then movie hopped to the theater, the one right across. And we went to see Tarzan. And the cashier saw us movie hop. So he called the manager. And they got a whole bunch of people to walk into the theater, all surround us in the back of the theater and tell us off. Like, you were movie hopping.
Oh my God.
So
what the hell, Tarzan?
There's a new Tarzan movie which also has the same actress as who plays Harley Quinn. I forget what her name is right now. Margot Robbie, yeah. So there's a new Tarzan movie with Margot Robbie playing Jane.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's mediocre. It's okay. Whatever.
Imagine. She's a good actress, and she's been in a lot of crappy movies now.
It's got Christopher Waltz in it, if you like him.
He's okay. I liked him in Inglourious Bastards, and I liked him in Django.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Maybe you like Tarzan.
I don't know.
Maybe you like Tarzan. I don't know.
Yeah. Thing is, I liked him in those Tarantino movies, and then you see, what's that movie called? What's the movie I mentioned before with Kevin Spacey?
Horrible Bosses.
Horrible Bosses 2 had Christopher Waltz, and that movie was a piece of
Horrible Bosses 1 and 2 is great.
Huh?
Both of them are solid.
It was okay. I just didn't think it was nearly as good as the first one. But I think a lot of what makes a great actor is the films that they choose to be in. Like Brad Pitt, for one, has been in very few bad movies.
But is that just because he's good? You don't think that's a thing?
No.
You don't think the actor can help make the movie?
They can absolutely help make the movie, but sometimes you can't. Like Will Smith's a great actor, but he's been in a lot of crap.
He's been some dead, hasn't he?
How like I don't know what he could have done nothing for the story in the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't think the actor has control over that at all, do they?
They do. They can choose not to be in the movie.
They can choose to reject it.
Well, that's what Bill Murray said when he was in Dumbo Drop. There's this movie Dumbo Drop, and he decided, okay, I'm gonna. His agent told him this is going to be a good movie, and they did the movie, and it didn't do very well. And he says, why am I letting my agent choose the movies for me? I could have read the script. When I read the script, I knew it was a piece of crap. I could do this myself. So he fired his agent. He never had an agent anymore.
Well, that's what happened with Gary Oldman with Edward Scissorhand. He got the script, and people are trying to pitch him Edward Scissorhand, and he's like, "This story is stupid.
What?
That guy's got scissors.
Oh shit!
How is this a movie? This is the worst plot I've ever heard of."
That's hilarious.
And it turns out to be huge.
Was Gary Oldman offered the part?
Yeah. They wanted to get Gary Oldman to do Edward Scissorhand, and Gary Oldman's like, "No, this is the dumbest plot I've ever read."
But you could say Gary Oldman's actually really good at choosing films, though.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness to Gary Oldman, Edward Scissorhands is a weird story.
It is, and I think Johnny Depp did it justice. I mean, Gary Oldman can play cool characters like that too.
Yeah.
But that's one of Johnny Depp's best movies, if not.
Yeah.
Maybe his best movie. Pirates of the Caribbean was pretty good too.
But I mean, you could say that with, especially when Tim Burton wasn't so big yet.
That's true too.
Yeah, the people didn't know what that guy could do yet. Really, didn't know he was going to make
Tim Burton films.
I'm a huge Tim Burton fan.
You got the movies there?
Can't go wrong with. I wasn't too fond of Ed Helms or whatever that one was, the black and white one.
Ed Wood.
Ed Wood, yeah.
I hated that movie.
That was a weird one. But
I didn't get it.
that was an artsy one.
Thing is, when they try to make you empathize with the character who just sucks at everything they do, I didn't like anything about the character, and I think that's one of the main things that makes me not like a movie is just having a character that I can't empathize with.
Who is this guy that just has no attractive qualities about him?
Well, what about Trainwreck? I was telling you.
Well, it depends if you like Amy Schumer or not. That's the thing. If you like Amy Schumer, it's okay. If you hate her, that is really hard to like that movie.
But you could have characters I don't like. For example, if you take.
But you don't like Amy Schumer outside of Trainwreck either, though.
I don't dislike her.
Okay, never mind.
I just didn't like her in the movie. She just didn't have any redeemable qualities. She was raised to believe that I can't remember what it was. Like sex was a good thing or something, and that she should be drinking all the time. You can turn that into something good. You can turn it into something relatable. You know what I mean? And that's all you need is something relatable. It's like, who's that guy? Oh my God.
Which guy?
There's that movie where he's like an oil guy in California.
What?
Oh my God.
I need more context.
There Will Be Blood.
Movie.
There Will Be Blood.
Bill.
There Will Be Blood. Have you heard of this movie?
No, I don't know. What is this?
Anyways, the guy in the movie is Jesus. Isn't that what it's called? You've seen Gangs of New York.
Yes, I saw that. Martin Scorsese.
Who's the main guy in that?
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Who's the other guy? Who's the bad guy?
Oh, the guy who plays There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know all the things he's in, but I don't know who he is. What the hell?
Was he in Last of the Mohicans? I think he was.
Okay, what about him? Yes, I know who we're talking about.
So he's in There Will Be Blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know that movie?
Yes, There Will Be Blood.
And
he's terrifying in that movie.
He's terrifying. He's a horrible person, but he's relatable. I don't know why he's relatable. He just is. They did something to make him relatable.
He's really scary in that movie.
Yeah, and I think he's just so ambitious or something. And he breaks his leg in the start and he crawls to save himself, you know? And then you're like, okay, he's not a nice guy. I wouldn't want to hang out with this guy, but I like him. And I want him to succeed. And that was something I thought Trainwreck was missing because I really liked the guy she was into, but I thought, why would he like her? Well, she hasn't done anything to make him like her. And maybe comedy can be something to connect you with someone. But she just needed, I don't know.
Did you see his recent one, The King of
Staten Island?
Staten Island, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, I loved it.
That was a solid movie.
Really good.
Bill Burr killed it too. That one.
Bill Burr's amazing in that. Yeah. And that was the first thing I've seen with that other guy, Peter. What is his name? Pete something.
Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Maybe.
Pete Davidson, something like that.
Pete Davidson, sure.
Yeah. Well, he's only done like Saturday Night Live stuff, right?
But I never liked that stuff. I don't know why. There's something about it I just didn't like.
Well, I saw him in stand-up. He has a stand-up special on Netflix.
I would probably like him more now because I kind of understand who he is, which is kind of nice. But I told you a lot of stand-up these days is just what makes me really depressed, and I'm gonna make jokes about that. And that's what there's a comedy thing on Netflix, I think, Sarah Silverman thing.
Sarah Silverman?
They made this like documentary, and they have all these comedians and they all have depression, and they say that I'm a comedian because I want to deal with my depression, but it doesn't help. And it's not going to help you get over your depression to make fun of things that you got to get help if you want to. But that's what comedy has become. It's become about depression, and it's people trying to cure their depression by making fun of things. And I think it's awful.
I think it's some people. I don't think when you go to the open mics, you see some people who just don't have an outlet, and so they're like, "This is all I got. Let me try it on stage."
Well, last time I went, it was just every single person. This was like an amateurish night too. Every single person was making fun of stuff they hate, and the whole night was about stuff I hate. And so I was like, okay, there's jokes about things that I hate, but why would I want to listen to this for? And it was like 3 hours long.
Here's the top 10 things I dislike. Let me talk about all the things I hate and how much I hate them.
Do you know what I hate is how often we're on social media. So I got a 20-minute piece about social media. And I'm like, I don't want to hear this. I came to get away from social media.
That's why it's so hard to watch the news nowadays. It's all about negative things.
I've always found news is like
that. Negative news is always negative.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Because it gets attention. Otherwise, who cares?
But I think that's the problem, isn't it? Like, isn't it at a certain point where like news is no longer useful? It's just negative.
Well, yeah, it's exactly it. It shapes us so much too. I think there's something about we are shaped so much that we don't even realize by like movies and stuff. And there was this guy who said like, I don't know. Men are very afraid of women sometimes. And I think that's because of movies we watch. There's always like the nervous kid, and that nervous kid always gets the girl in the end. And you're like, oh, I got to be really nice, and I got to be this weird, quirky character. And then it's like, that's not who you should be at all. You should be confident. You should, women should be a part of your life, but not the main part of your life.
The guy who's confident and strong in the beginning of the movie, that guy doesn't get the girl in the end of the movie.
No, never. And I don't know. Is that true to life? I have no idea. There is something about that I've found in real life is that confident guys often, not confident guys, but cocky guys will often get girls that cheat on them. I find that a lot. And then the loser guys always find kind of the loser girl who mixes with them in real life.
You find the person who's similar?
Well, I think similarities are what keep us together anyway.
Probably helps a bit.
There's birds of a feather flock together.
It's hard to find someone who's your exact opposite and somehow be attracted to each other.
Make things work. You got to be with this person for your whole life. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Like me and my fiance talk about this all the time. Like, we're going to be together for a very long time. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about. We've been together for 3 years. Imagine 30 years from now.
That's only like half of it. You got to be around longer than that, supposedly. You think? You hope?
I'm not in the best of health. I'm trying to take care of myself here, Chester, but
You're just trying to make it through the next few years.
If I make it to 40, I'll be pretty excited.
I had a date with a girl and she's like, I got to get all these things done before I'm 40. Like, I got to travel the world. And I'm like, why? Because she's like, I don't know if I'm going to be around much longer after that. Like, what?
My ex-girlfriend wants to kill herself by the time she's 35.
Jeez.
Because she never wants to be old. I'm like, that's crazy.
She wants to max out her credit cards and then whoop.
Well, if you're going to go, I mean, you might as well max out the credit cards.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's kind of crazy. I guess the bank's taking a risk by giving you all that money, eh?
You just hope you don't give it to crazy people. Yeah. I have some friends who can't get credit cards.
Really?
Because they're international students or international
Oh, and they
people.
can't get credit cards?
And apparently, if you're from another country, it's really hard to get credit cards for some, even if you have perfect rating in the other country.
What country are they from?
Like London. And he's like got a degree as well. And he just can't get credit card here because he doesn't have he's not a Canadian citizen. He's not a permanent resident.
But he's from England. Don't they have credit cards there?
Yeah, he's got good credit. But for some reason, they don't trust people here unless you have permanent resident or something.
Well, that's kind of crazy. Maybe because you could be lying about who you are. I don't know.
Like it's really hard to do anything without a credit card.
I guess so. Where were we before credit cards? Like, didn't we save up money to spend?
Cash, I guess. Pay by check.
I'd like to stop using any credit. I don't want to be in debt for anything. I mean, it might not be possible. Especially you want to make a movie, you got to borrow money.
Yeah, I don't know how that works for financing movies.
It's
got to be really hard.
I don't know.
How does that work? How does a movie get financed? You should know more than me. I've never financed a movie.
Well, you got a producer, and they get money. They'll mortgage their house if they want to make a movie.
Yikes!
They told me that in acting school. It's like, okay, you got to be pretty good because this guy's mortgaging his house so you can be in his movie. Okay, no pressure. That's fine.
No pressure. If you don't do it, a few people are going to be homeless because of your non-good acting because you didn't do a good job. Hey.
I'd like to get in more film soon though. I don't know. I want to get a good role for like the winter. I have an idea. I want to film To Build a Fire, which is about a guy and he goes into this little town and there's all these old timers and they say, don't go out into the wild by yourself because you'll die.
Okay.
And he says, no, I'm fine. A real man can take care of himself. And then he goes with his wolf dog across Alaska or whatever, and he's going to meet some friends in this cabin. And on the way, he falls into this water, and he has to light this fire. And he's doing it really quick because he's starting to freeze, and his hands are starting to get so frozen he can barely hold on to the match. And he gets the fire going, and he says, "Okay, see, as long as you keep your wits about you, you're fine. You're not going to die by yourself just because you're by yourself. As long as you're a real man, you can take care of yourself, you're fine."
Okay.
And then the wind hits and it knocks his fucking tree, and the snow falls on the fire, and it's out. And he gets so cold so fast he can't even hold the match. So he decides he's going to take his knife and he's going to cut his dog open and put his hands in there to warm him up so he can light the fire.
Ooh.
So he calls his dog over, and the dog won't come because the dog can see it in his eyes that something's wrong.
Ooh.
He says, come on. So the dog finally comes over, and he tries to pick up the knife, and his hands, he forgot, are too frozen. He can't pick up the knife. So he holds his dog, and he says, "You know what? This isn't so bad. I mean, I don't feel it. There's worse ways to go." And he freezes to death and dies. And his dog stares at him. Remember, it's part wolf. But he just runs off and goes to the camp where the other guy goes. So I wanted to film that, and I have this kid who's, he must be 11 or 13 now. Really young kid. I worked with him when he was like 9. And he was making movies, and I thought, oh, this is really cool. This kid's gonna learn a lot. But he writes his own stuff too. So a 9-year-old writing a movie, there's gonna be a lot of action, very little depth to the movie.
It sounds like a short movie. It doesn't sound like a long one.
Which one?
This one.
Yeah, it'd be a short film. But I mean, where the hell do you film it? I mean, you go to like Markham. There's like North Markham. There's like a lot of fields and stuff that are just pure.
Well, where's like the snow, the ski resort?
Like Blue Mountain.
Yeah, like around there maybe.
But wouldn't people be skiing?
Well, not on the mountain, but like just that general empty. Like there's a lot of fields and stuff there.
Yeah, I filmed a movie, and they were filming Anne of Green Gables, the TV show, around that area, and I think that's in Markham, and so it's not that far.
You could probably do it there.
Blue Mountain's pretty far.
That would work.
But I want to give this kid something to work on, and he does a lot of like action movies with like a lot of explosions and stuff, so I wanted to throw that in there. So I actually had another movie idea for a movie that maybe we could do together, and it's based on The Things They Carried. Have you read that one?
No, what's this?
It's a stories about like World War II or World War I. I think it's World War I. I think it's World War I. This guy was just like, he's just telling stories, and he describes a lot about the stuff that they were carrying in their bags and stuff, but also the emotional burden they were carrying, and just everything they were carrying. So it means a lot. But one of the scenes, he talks about how, I guess there's like gunfire, and they get down, they start shooting, and they don't even know what they're shooting at. It's just kind of like trees and shit.
Something.
Yeah, and so I'm like, that'd be a really cool scene. Like, have guys just shooting into nothing. And maybe there's one guy who's picking off guys, and he's actually focusing. Everyone's just shooting. And so when they see all these people they killed, they're like, how do we kill these people? And then they know it's that one guy. And then they have to go into this town and make sure there's no one there. And they have to scope it out. It's a really tense scene. It takes a long time. They got like this intricate going through the town. That'd be really tense scene. I'm like, he could film that. I could write that, and he could film that. I'd have to come up with more of a story, but I think I could go somewhere with that. It'd be kind of cool.
No, that sounds appealing.
There's something else about the war where they forced everyone to write every day. They had to write letters home and stuff, and it kept you sane, and it gave you something to do. And that's why a lot of people who were in the war are really good writers. Like Hemingway was in the war, Roald Dahl was in the war.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was a pilot.
She wrote every day.
Yeah.
Wrote back to their lover or whoever.
Didn't Roald Dahl got injured on like the first day of the war or something?
You showed me a bunch of books by Roald Dahl, which were like dark.
Oh my God, his short stories? They're amazing. It's just very dark, he's the master of the twist ending. Like, he's so good at writing. If you like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you'll love his short stories.
I still haven't read these short stories. They sound more and more appealing every time.
I always say Pig. Pig is one of my favorite short stories. It's just because it's so odd, and then the end is so odd, but it's just like a cool world. It's like a different world, but it seems so down to earth. I don't know. It reminds me of so many different things. And because of that, I read Voltaire's Candide. And Candide is a really cool story about this guy who just gets the shit kicked out of him every day. It's just a really cool idea.
What's Pig about?
A pig? Pig is about these two kids, whatever, they just had a baby.
Sure.
And they want to go out and party. So they leave this brand new baby with their babysitter. And they go out and they party and they get drunk and then they come home. And then they forgot their keys. So they got to sneak through the window. And they have something in their hand. I can't remember what they have in their hand. But they got like bottles of booze or something in their hand. And then the cops see them sneaking in the window and they drive up. And they're like, hey, get out of the window. Show me your hands. And they can't show them their hands because they got these bottles in their hands. So they're trying to sneak out of the window. And the cops, because they got something in their hands, they all open fire and they kill these two people. And the cops, of course, because they stopped this burglary, they get awards and they're celebrated like heroes.
You know, they killed the owner of their own house.
Huh?
They killed the owner of their own house, though.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So the baby has to go live with the aunt, and the aunt lives on this farm, and she wants nothing to do with the world. So she takes this baby and she raises him, and she never lets him go into the world, and they don't eat meat. They only eat plants, plant-based foods, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually the aunt dies, and he's got to go into town for the first time to settle her will and all this shit. But I won't say any more of the story. That's about halfway through the story. And it just gets better and better from there.
I don't know. I think you should ruin it now because now I'm intrigued. I think now you got to spoil it.
Well, he gets to the guy who's with the will and stuff. I think he buried her in the backyard because
He buried the ants in the backyard.
Huh?
He buried the ants in the backyard.
He buries the ant in the backyard. I think they had a cow maybe or a sheep or maybe a dog. They had an animal, I think. And it dies. And they bury it. So when his aunt dies, he buries her.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the guy who just set up the funeral and all that. And he goes, she left you a lot of money, like $200,000 or $400,000, something like that. And he goes, oh, that's great. And then he goes, okay, yeah, but $50,000 has to go to her funeral. And he goes, what funeral? I already buried her. He goes, you can't do that. And he goes, why not? He goes, you just can't. So I'm going to take it off anyway. So he takes $100,000 for the funeral or whatever. And he takes his fee, which is another $100,000 or something. In the end, he's left with like $20,000 or something. But he really screws him out of this stuff.
Jeez.
But it doesn't say that he screwed him out of it. He just kind of did. And so he's like, okay, whatever. He has the money. He's got all this stuff settled. And then he's walking out of the town or whatever, and he sees a diner or something or a restaurant. And he goes in to get some food. He's pretty hungry. And he gets served up a plate. I guess he picks something out the menu. He goes, I'll have the pork, I guess, whatever that is. So he brings him this plate, and he tastes the pork. He goes, this is incredible. This is really good. I really like this. I forgot to mention that one of his hobbies is that he makes recipes from all the plants and stuff that they have. So he really likes cooking. He's really into that kind of stuff. And he tries the pork and he goes, this is really good. What is this? And he goes, yeah, that's the pork, buddy. He goes, yeah. What is that? What is? And he's like, what the hell you say? What do you want, kid? What do you mean? What is it?
What is pork?
What is it? How do you make it? He goes, it's pig. It's pig meat. And he goes, pig meat? Are you kidding me? What are you? It's real pig meat? He goes, yeah, pig meat. It could be human meat. He goes, human meat? What the hell? And the guys laugh at him. The guys in the thing, and you're thinking like, what the hell's going on?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he goes, well, how do they make it? He goes, how do you make what? The meal? And he goes, no, the pig meat. How do you get that? He goes, I don't know. You gotta go to you gotta kill a pig and make it. He goes, where do they do it? Where can I see this happen? And he's like, yeah, go to the what do you call it? The slaughterhouse or whatever, and they can show you how it's done. So he goes, okay, great. Where is it? And he goes, okay, it's down the street. He goes, like, cool. All right. So he's like, oh my God, this is going to be a great addition to my cookbook. Because he was never really against eating meat. That was his aunt. He just never ate it before. So he gets to this slaughtering house and he goes, can I have a tour? They're like, sure, just sit in the waiting room. So he's in the waiting room and there's other families there sitting. They look really sad and they're waiting to go on the tour. And he's like, I wonder if they also want to cook meat, but they don't look too happy about this pig meat stuff. I don't know what's going on. There's like a lady and her little kid, and he's like really sad. And he's like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. So he finally gets to go on the tour, and he's like with the guy, and he's talking to him, and he sees the pig go up, and it gets slaughtered. He goes, holy crap, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. He goes, yep, that's how it's done. He goes, that's really cool. And then he gets a chain hooked around his leg, and it flips him upside down and takes him up this conveyor belt.
The kid gets flipped up.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
And then he's like to the guy, hey, what the hell? And the guy goes, and he just walks away. And then the kid gets taken up and he gets beat up on the way up. And then he's hanging upside down. He sees this guy with a knife. And he says, whoa, I'm not supposed to be here. And then the guy says something and he just slits his throat. And that's the end of the story.
Woo! 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 Roald Dahl.
That's my favorite story. I wrote a short story based on that one called Pig Farm.
Oh God!
It's about a farmer who lives in like a futuristic society where you're only allowed to eat pigs if you own them. You can't buy them at the store anymore. So this guy owns this pig farm, and there's people with shares in the company. And so that's my story. I won't tell you what happens to mine. I'll let you read it. But it's got a similar twist, I guess you could say.
I'm still reeling from that. Eesh. Just the guy who just gets crap kicked out of him his whole life.
But think about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and you think about like the uncle who's like this just trash guy sleeping on a bed.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you think like he didn't put much effort into like writing this, he's just a random weird character who's kind of out of place. Same with Willy Wonka. He's this crazy dude, but he knows his characters, Roald Dahl, and he knows who these guys are. And so there's so much to like Willy Wonka that we don't even think about because we just think it's a children's story that doesn't.
Yeah, you analyze the films a little bit and you're like, wait, this is actually a very strange film.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here that you don't really get the first time you see it as a kid.
Like, why are all the old people sleeping in this bed together? I guess it's the Great Depression or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of the things you're like, oh, this is fun. Yay, there's people, they're all in this strange world. And then old, you're like, this is a really dark world.
I recently learned how Roald Dahl got started in writing.
Oh, how so?
He was in the war, and I guess he got injured, so he got sent to the States for some reason, and he was like spying on the Americans or like keeping tabs on them. And a writer came up to him. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's like, I don't know, some famous writer. I can't remember who it was. But he said, I want to know about your experience in the war. Can we sit down for dinner and you can tell me about it and then I'll write about it and then I'll make an article. And he goes, sure, yeah, okay. So they go to dinner and this guy's eating this duck and it's like really greasy and stuff. And he's trying to talk to Roald Dahl and he's trying to write down, he's trying to eat this duck all at the same time. And halfway through, Roald Dahl's like, why don't I just write up the points for you? And that way you don't have to write anything down. He goes, that's great. And that way you can eat your duck. He's like, great, that's great. So he's eating his duck and he tells him all the story. He goes, great, that's great. And so they have the conversation. And he goes home and he writes down the story. And he hands it to this guy. And this guy gets mad at him and he says, I told you to write down just the points. I didn't tell you to write the whole story. And he had never written anything, Roald Dahl. He'd never written anything in his life. And he got his thing published. His story published.
So good.
Yeah, because he had written it. And the guy said, my agent usually takes 10%, so I'll give you the $1,000 they were going to pay me, but I'll give you $900 and I'll take $100. And Roald Dahl's like, sounds good to me.
Damn.
And then he thought, it can't be this easy.
Damn. Career bloom.
Oh my God. But his writing is my favorite. He's like the best. Him
BFG.
and Hemingway are just, I don't know, on a different level.
Something about when you read a Roald Dahl book, it is a different world. It's always you're taken out. It really doesn't feel like the same world that we live in. It feels very different.
Yeah.
Everything feels like it's very dark, but it never feels bad in a Roald Dahl book somehow. Somehow it seems okay.
He's somehow figured out really what it means. Well, what each character is like feeling and how it's going to make us feel, I think. There's one of his short stories is called My Dove, My Lady Love or something like that. And it's about this woman who's really bored. So she wants to spy on these guys and her husband doesn't want to at first, but then he eventually says, sure. And they spy on these guys and then these guys are just making fun of them the whole time or like cheating them out of something. And you think that that's horrible and you have no idea how it's going to end. But he brings the light back into the world by the lady is like inspired by these con artists. She's like, we could do that too. And that's like the best ending. Like he just knows so much about his characters maybe that he can just infuse a sense of light into these horrible situations. Well,
and a lot of like, for example, Matilda, like, or I guess Willy Wonka, is super bleak world. And then there's one character who seems to be just unfazed.
Usually a child too.
Yeah, usually a child is completely unfazed by darkness. And that's somehow very, very happy, very exciting to hear where this kind of goes in this horrible world.
Maybe it's hope. Maybe that's what he writes about. It's just very hopeful situations.
Yeah. And same with BFG. I mean, there's a little kid in this horrible world.
Yeah.
Everything's eating children. What the hell?
Is that what it's about? I've never seen that.
You haven't seen BFG?
No.
Read BFG?
Is that Spielberg? Who directed that one?
Spielberg, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget the movie. The book came out a long time before that.
I know. I've never read a Roald Dahl novel in my life.
But I mean, okay, I can say this without even ruining it. The premise is about giants who eat kids. That's the movie.
That is cool.
And it's by Roald Dahl, so it's not dark, but it is in a very dark world.
Well, he wrote that Pig based on Candide, which is about a guy who gets just beat up his whole life. And what Pig is about, it's about sheltering your kids so much that they don't see how horrible the world is, and so they're not prepared to live in it.
Ooh.
So I think that's his idea. That's why he writes about kids a lot.
That's like a running theme in his books.
Yeah, I think he thinks that the world is this horrible place, and kids are so innocent, and they can go a number of different directions. But I like that idea. And there's only so many parts of our lives that we can write about. There's childhood. There's like high school time when you kind of have to choose what you're gonna do. There's your adult life when you're trying to make something of yourself, and then there's the old age where you.
Yeah, you seem to lose your innocence once you get to high school. But before that, you're always completely.
Well, absolutely. You go through puberty and you're just an animal.
It's something about puberty that just takes away your innocence.
Because you want, I don't know.
It's something about that. You suddenly, at that point, you've now seen and you will be experiencing bad things.
Do you think it's the sex drive?
Yeah, something about sex is you can't be innocent afterwards.
Could be ambition too. Ambition destroys us.
You don't think kids can be ambitious?
I don't know. Were you ambitious as a kid? I was very optimistic as a kid.
I was naive.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
For sure.
I thought things, and then later you're like, oh wait, that doesn't seem right.
That can't be right.
That doesn't make much sense. Thought it was going to be a millionaire doing that. Nah, I don't know about that.
I was playing AAA hockey when I was a kid, and I thought I was going to go to the NHL. I didn't really think about it too much, but I thought maybe I could.
This is easy.
For me, it was like a decision. Like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? Do I want to go to the NHL? I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. And I think at the time I didn't. I wasn't really interested in it. I never put any effort into it. But if I really wanted to do that, maybe I would have put enough effort in to do it. And I think that's a lot of kids at that age. And you just do it. Like by that age, I guess I was 12 or 13. You're playing hockey every single day.
That's right.
And it's hours a day, and you're doing off ice training, and it's taking up your whole life.
So you know,
it gets boring, and then for me it was like the regular season. I did not care. Like maybe the playoffs, you'd be like, okay, let's try and win some games here. But like and practices, I hated practices.
Oh yeah,
couldn't stand them.
Just drills, right?
I guess so.
Drills and drills and drills.
Once you get older too, you end up doing a lot of I guess like plays.
Yeah.
And that was like, I don't know, it was really boring. And I'm like, why do we need plays?
Yeah, so you don't learn plays as a kid.
Yeah,
so there's no plays. What's play? Kid's not listening to that crap.
Yes.
Look at the whiteboard. You got to move in this formation. None of that.
I'm like, we actually supposed to do this? Like, why are we practicing this? And for me, I was a winger, so I had to go down the corner, get the puck, stop, come back up. It was the most tiring shit ever. Yeah. There's got to be a better way to do this. But anyways,
that's true.
So anyways, I was just thinking like I could be an NHL player, and then one of my coaches said, "None of you are going to be NHL players." He said, "The odds are so slim. Like you guys are one team and one age group in one league."
He's just breaking the truth to you,
and I'm just like, "Oh my god, is that true?"
Oof.
And our team wasn't doing so well that year, so I'm like, "All right, well, I guess this is
as far as you're gonna go. Hope you enjoy it."
Sucks though. And I don't think it was right for him to tell us that.
No?
I don't think he should.
Well, it depends. How young were you?
I don't know, 11 or 12?
Because it feels like there's a certain age where it's probably good to hear it, and there's a certain age where it's too young to hear it.
But I think I could have decided whether or not I wanted to do that when I was younger. I played with guys who are in the NHL now.
That's an interesting point. Is there a certain thing where you're like, this information should be held back from kids? Do you think that's a thing, or do you think they should give them it as soon as they can process it, give the information right away?
But that's the thing. You at like 11 or 12, your hope is ripped from you, and you become a more realistic person. So now you're like, what am I actually going to do with my life? And until then, you had no idea, and you didn't even want to think about it, and you had all these possibilities opened up to you. And
soon they hit puberty. You're like, okay, here you should get all the information.
Right here, you little shit. You got to learn to do this stuff because you're never going to go anywhere.
By the way, no one cares.
Oh my god,
no one cares about you. No support. Good luck. Go make something in your life.
And but then when you get old enough, so for me, I had to decide what I want to do with my life. And I decided, okay, I got a real job, but I want a little bit of ambition. So I was like, I'll be a doctor or something, Like I went through biomedical science and I did all that, and I got super bored of that crap. So I never really did what I wanted to do until I kind of did that for a while. And then I'm like, because I always wanted to do something with movies, but I thought that was an unrealistic dream too, like the hockey thing. And then I started making movies, I started acting, and I'm like, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm passionate about, and I'm actually going to get good at this because I want to do it every day. Yeah. It's not like I'm forced to do it every day. I can actually have fun with this and learn more.
That's a strange thing, isn't it? You can do things that aren't just hell every day. You can actively do something.
But sometimes it is hell, even though even though it is what you want to do. I mean, you still have to go to acting class every day. You're still going to suck. Think about being a stand-up comedian. True. How many bad shows you're going to have if you want to get good. How much torment that is in yourself. But it's just like, is it worth it in the end? Is it really what you want to do? And do you have no other options? That to me is what life is.
It's not even you don't have options. You have to give up one option to take the other option. That's the thing.
Yeah. So I was thinking when I first started acting, I could have kept my job I had, made $50 an hour or whatever, and maybe acted on the side until I got good enough to quit, versus quitting right away, getting a job in acting and getting better that way. I don't know what the answer there was.
No, well, there's no way to know unless you can see both timelines. But good luck with that. No, it's not most people can do what Ken Jeong did and be a doctor and then go into stand-up comedy and be a movie star. Yeah, that's not the norm. That's definitely the abnormal.
Well, I heard Aaron Sorkin the other day said there is no path. If there was a path, if we knew how to do it, there's a formula, then everyone would be famous. Yeah, but there isn't. So it's just complicated.
Well, I think I disagree with that. There is one, and that's you have to create a lot of things. It doesn't matter what the thing is. You have to be creating stuff. Yeah. If you don't create things often, good luck. It's going to be hard.
Well, think about Ed Wood and how he created a bunch of stuff, but it was the worst stuff ever. Oh, although he was hired, he did get to do what he wanted to do, I guess.
It doesn't, I guess. But if you don't create anything, it's never going to happen, though.
Well, that's the thing. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
But I think it's different, though. You take shots, but I think specifically is the creation part. People become famous because they created things. Yeah. I think that's the part that is really hard to do.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, you have to produce stuff and you have to put it out there and you have to keep getting better. But I don't think that creating stuff is necessarily going to make you either happy or famous.
Oh, no. It doesn't guarantee happiness.
No.
But I think it's kind of the most important if you want to be famous in the terms of business. Yeah. People really like people who create things for some reason.
Well, that's what they say too, is any business, 80% of businesses or whatever it is fail every year. And I don't know, you just got to keep trying. The businesses that succeed are the ones that have had so many failures that they know how to succeed now, right?
Yeah, like I don't really ever hear about famous people who did things that didn't involve creating things, though. Like a famous accountant? I don't know. What? I haven't heard of that.
No, I guess you're right. And I think that's why we all want to be in the arts, is to...
Yeah, because it's...
Well, what about, like, scientists who are famous?
Yeah, the famous people are the ones who created stuff or invented stuff.
Who right? discovered things?
The guy who did really, really good work but didn't create the thing? I don't know that guy. Who's that guy? I don't know.
But of course, like, why would anyone care? But what about, like, Gandhi, who was famous because he stopped the war and because he did these other things?
Yeah, I mean, politicians are a little different, right?
Politicians. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there's many famous... What has Trump created in his time? We're all gonna remember him. Actually,
he made a lot of stuff.
Hotel chain.
Whether you like his stuff or not, he made a lot of things. It's a lot of hotels and buildings and books and merchandise and board games. There's a lot of things.
I often wonder if like being remembered is important at all either.
Yeah,
because
that's another
once you're dead, you're dead.
Spent a lot of effort on making YouTube videos and here's stuff I did.
I think we should just slow down and maybe work on the world a bit more and be a bit more environmentally
quantity. That's
conscious.
the issue, right?
Quality versus quantity is always important too.
Well, I like your idea still of tune in next time to Jack and Chester, subscribe, and the next video is just tune in next time to Jack and Chester, subscribe.
Hey, we're back. This is Jack and Chester. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
And then next video, another one. I really like that. There's no content.
No content. Yeah, why don't we just call it no content?
Maybe that's the name of the channel.
No content. Episode 1.
Welcome back to No Content. Subscribe.
It's Jack and Chester again. I don't want to say the name of the show during the thing. We're going to get this. This is going to be good. We're here in sunny Toronto. Tune in next time.
Yeah, I know. I think there should be like an underlying thing that slightly builds up throughout the episodes, but it's not obvious at first. Like there's actually maybe you find out how we know each other or something, but like not in real life, but like in the context of the show, there's some kind of, I don't know, it turns out we actually hate each other, or one of them's trapped in the basement locked by the other or something. I don't know what it is. There's like some deep thing going on, but you don't find that. You just hear, oh, subscribe next. There's some secret dark story.
I like the idea that they're working on something and they're just taking a bit of time out of that one thing they're working on.
Oh, that works too.
To just do this quick podcast or whatever it is. Not a podcast.
Just 10 seconds subscribe.
This vlog. Yeah. And we're back again. We were just working on, the thing. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit the bell icon to get all of our notifications.
Maybe it could be one of those things like, oh, I didn't see you there.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
I hate that. That's so overused now, man. Oh, hey, I didn't see you.
It could just be like lots of those videos.
I wonder what the first one of those was. Where
oh, hey, I didn't see you there.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Have you seen the Twilight Zone by chance?
No. What's this? I heard of this. I don't know what this is.
Twilight Zone TV show?
What is this? People rant about it.
Before your time, maybe.
People tell me how good this thing is. What is it?
Just short stories put in the film form. I don't know.
Okay.
The first episode is really cool because I don't know, the guy comes on and he talks about this show that they're creating, The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone is going to be an interesting concept where we talk about different things. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? Is this a part of it? It's like a pitch, but it's a part of the episode. It's so weird. But it's so cool. And that's one of my favorite episodes just because it's like the pitch. The pilot is the pitch for the show, but it's also a part of the show. So it's like, I'm very meta. I don't know.
Actually, I kind of like that.
But that's just the first episode. And then the other ones are just like kind of short stories turned into these things. But the thing about them is that they have no B storyline. It's always A. So everything we see now, there's always a B story. And it's, as a writer, it's not easy to always think like, when you start writing, if you're thinking of B plot lines and A and C, it's a lot to take in, and you're focusing on too many things. But this is just like one story, and with a good arc and all that stuff. And it's, I don't know. I think it's a really good thing for writers to watch.
Yeah. Well, give me an example of an episode then, because I haven't seen anything.
Well, Charles Beaumont was a writer on this show, and he was, I think, hospitalized or he was handicapped or something. Like he couldn't walk. I think he got some disease, and he was bedridden for like years of his life or something. So he was just writing in bed all the time. So he's a really good writer, and he wrote. I don't know if they made a Twilight Zone, but one of my favorite stories of his is Free Dirt, which I based my story on. It's just about this guy who just loves getting deals. He just wants to get stuff for free all the time. And so he screws these guys out of a meal, and then he steals the dirt from the church is offering free dirt. And he just wants their dirt because he likes free things. So he steals all the dirt from the cemetery.
Oof.
And the dirt from the cemetery is obviously what they dug out for the coffins to go in. And so he ends up eating the dirt and dies or something. I don't know. Pretty crazy ending. But another one, one of the Twilight Zone episodes that he did was called Perchance to Dream, and it's about a guy who can't sleep, and he goes into the psychiatrist's office, and he says, "I can't sleep. I haven't got to sleep in 3 days." He goes, "Oh, do you want to give you some medication to put you to sleep?" He goes, "No. I can fall asleep, but I can't go back to sleep because this woman's trying to kill me in my dreams."
Ooh. Ooh.
And as soon as he goes in the office, I guess he tells him this real quick, and then he lays down for a second, And he almost falls asleep, and he's like, holy shit, I almost fucking fell asleep. And then I guess he tells him this whole story about how this woman's chased him up this hill, and he's at the top of this hill now, and if he falls back asleep, she's going to push him off the edge. And then he's like, I can't do anything for you. I would suggest just going to sleep. And then he's about to leave, and the secretary comes in. And he's like, she's the woman from my dreams. And he goes, my secretary? That's impossible. And he goes, no, that's her. And he backs up and falls out of the window, and he falls down dead. And then we're back in the office, and the guy's asleep on the couch, dreaming. And the secretary says, what's going on in here? And he goes, I don't know, he fell asleep and died. He says, and that's the end of the story.
Ooh. Ooh.
So that to me is a really cool story, but that's the Twilight Zone, man. There's another one I really like where the guy's in this bank and he wants to read, so he's trying to read at work, and the customers are getting really upset, and then the boss is getting really upset because all he's trying to do is read the whole time. He goes, but at home I can't read. My wife won't let me read. And so he goes home and he's trying to read, and his wife says, stop reading, we got to go out. And he has his book stuck in his pocket, and she rips it up, tears up this guy's book. And then he goes back to work, and he has a book again, and he sneaks into the vault, and he locks himself in the vault, and he starts reading. And as he's in the vault reading, a nuclear warhead hits the town and blows everything up. But he was safe because he was in the vault. So he goes out in the world, and he's looking around, and he thinks he's going to just kill himself because there's no one else around. He doesn't know what to do. And then he notices that the library's still there. He has all these books he can read. And so that to me is a really cool story too. Do you want to know the twist on the end of that one?
Yeah.
So he wears glasses the whole time, and so in the end, the glasses fall off his head, and he steps on them. So
Wait, they fall on the ground.
and he steps on them, and breaks them. So he can't read anyway. He's in this apocalypse world with no one else, and he breaks his glasses.
It sounds like they all have a dark twist.
Well, yeah, that's what Black Mirror is based on. Is the Twilight Zone?
Oh, really?
Kind of the same concept.
Oh, I love Black Mirror.
There's another episode that's pretty good where these aliens come to town, and then one of the kids, everyone in town's like gathered around. The kid says, I've seen this before. One of us is an alien. We don't know who it is. And so the time just goes by, and they keep accusing each other of being aliens until they all shoot each other. And the aliens are up on this hill watching them. And he says, I don't know what happened. This happens every time we come back. Everyone just killing each
It
other.
happened again, man.
That's pretty cool.
Short stories, short films, short episodes. Get some great twists.
I love it, and that's my short stories I'm writing now are very much like this, right? And for now, that's what I'm concentrating on. If I can get good at writing that, then I'll try something new. But I like experimenting.
Yeah, well, I think you'll like that book then. Maybe it's the same kind of idea.
I love Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's
it's just all short stories like this. There's a twist well, not necessarily a twist, but there's always like an interesting concept each time. The twist might not be like a change in plot, but there's like a different way of seeing, which is what you wouldn't expect going in.
That's what I like doing is the last thing in the story. I like it when it changes your idea of the whole story. It just gives you a different paradigm.
Yeah, that's why I like James Lynch so much, I guess. David Lynch, sorry.
David Lynch is Jane Lynch. David Lynch, his stories aren't like that. They are like, but his whole story is a different perspective on one thing.
Yeah.
So like,
it's about one thing, but you see something very different.
well, what's the Blue Velvet is about, like Oedipus complex or something? I don't really know, but it's something like that. And in the end, you go watch it again, you're like, holy shit, that's crazy.
Actually, I'm not so sure Blue Velvet was too different. Like, Eraserhead is very different than what you see than what it's about.
Well, Eraserhead is about, he had a child with a deformity.
Yeah.
And the movie is like his deepest feelings about that kid and how he sees that and his fears and his anxiety and stuff like that about the kid.
I'm not sure Blue Velvet had as much like that.
I can't remember what that movie was about. I know he falls in love with a mother figure, and his father figure, he kills him in the end.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people doing things and people dying, and
I can't remember the movie now. I liked it when I saw it though. Mulholland Drive is my favorite.
I haven't seen that. People keep ranting about how good this movie is.
That's
Mulholland
a good
Drive.
one. I really like that one.
You got to check it out, I guess. I remember I started to watch it when I was too young to appreciate this kind of thing, and I'm like, I don't get it. And then I stopped it. But now I think I could probably watch it and appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyways, I should get going because
Yes,
I got to
yes,
work on
yeah.
some fight choreography for
Call
tomorrow.
this session a wrap. Thanks
Cool,
again
man.
for being on the show. This is Jack
you.
Hunter. Or where can people check out your stuff?
At The Real Jack Hunter
There we go.
on Instagram. You'll see all my excellent work.
Okay, guys, go there. Go check them out. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
Another episode of Chester Sky Show.